I honestly, I wouldn't mind at this point if Caitlyn just started her villain arc. She needs to start putting her foot down because this, like, some of this stuff is getting a little wild. She comes into the WNBA, her biggest life dream to play professional basketball. She comes into the WNBA. She gets a special whistle the opposite way because she's getting fouled and flagrant fouled, and just the defense that they're playing on her is actually insane. Yet despite all that, has an incredible rookie season. And then on top of that, people are using her name for their hidden agendas on both sides. People are just using Caitlyn's name. And then if she says something, it's not enough. If she doesn't say anything, she never wants to speak out about anything. She cannot.
Caitlyn Clark has finally had enough. And this time, she's not holding back. The WNBA thought they could use her name for ratings and clout, but now the league's brightest star is drawing a hard line. Her latest comments about Cathy Engelbert have sent shockwaves through the basketball world. So, what do you think? Did Caitlyn cross the line, or was this moment long overdue? The tension between players and league leadership has been building for weeks, and now it's finally erupted. It all started with Nafisa Collier's exit interview. 6 straight minutes of pure chaos that completely hijacked the league's spotlight from the finals. Instead of fans celebrating the Aces or the Mercury, all anyone could talk about was Collier calling out Cathy Engelbert and accusing her of lying about Caitlyn Clark. Let's rewind for a moment. During that interview, Collier claimed Engelbert once told her Caitlyn Clark should be grateful for the WNBA because without it, she wouldn't have all those endorsement deals. And that single line set everything on fire. Fans went ballistic. Players began speaking out. The league scrambled into damage control. Then, just before Game 1 of the finals, Engelbert tried to clear the air in a press conference, but let's just say, it only made things worse.
Continue to express that you're disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Nafisa Collier. Just again, seeking clarity. Did you in fact say that Caitlyn Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlyn Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
Yeah, obviously I did not make those comments. Caitlyn has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game, proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there, and I certainly did not say that.
She denied ever saying that about Caitlyn Clark. And not only that, she hinted that Collier's version of their private conversation was full of inaccuracies. In other words, she basically called Collier a liar on national television. And that's when everything started to spiral. Because here's the thing, Nafisa Collier isn't just some random player sounding off online. She's one of the WNBPA's vice presidents, directly involved in the collective bargaining talks that shape the league's future, from player salaries to travel schedules to health benefits.
And at the end of the day, she's worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. And Cathy, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
So when Cathy Engelbert publicly dismissed Collier's words, she didn't just slight one player. She disrespected a union leader. And that's when Caitlyn Clark decided she'd had enough. Until now, Caitlyn has always been careful. She avoids drama, stays out of politics, keeps her focus on basketball, and lets the noise swirl around her. But this time, when reporters asked about Collier's comments, she delivered a line that stopped everyone cold. I think Fee made a lot of valid points. Boom.
Well, I mean, first of all, I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said. And, I think the points she made were very valid.
One sentence, and the league went silent, because that line wasn't random. It was a clear signal that Caitlin Clark, the face of the WNBA, had chosen a side. And honestly, who could blame her? This is the same league that's used her name to sell tickets, boost ratings, and land sponsorships, all while letting her get tossed around like it's a wrestling match. Remember those early rookie games? Caitlin took more hits than anyone, shoved, hacked, elbowed. And the refs just watched. They called it physical play. But if LeBron James or Stephen Curry took those same hits, we'd see free throws every 5 minutes. So when the commissioner finally had a chance to show she cared about player safety, and instead used Caitlin's name to polish the league's image, you can see why Clark's patience ran out. Then it got even crazier. Right after Cathy Engelbert's press conference, she claimed she'd reached out to Collier for a private talk to smooth things over. But before it could happen, Collier canceled. She flat out refused. ESPN broke the story. And even crazier, Cathy Engelbert found out from the media, not from Collier herself. That's how bad it's gotten. The league's own commissioner is finding out about canceled meetings through Twitter alerts. And here's where Caitlin Clark comes back into the picture. Because after Collier called off that meeting, several players, including Clark's own teammates like Lexi Hull, publicly backed Collier. They said she wasn't wrong, that the league's leadership had completely lost touch with reality. Caitlin didn't post a statement, but her actions said everything. She stopped sharing WNBA promos. She went quiet about the finals. She liked fan tweets calling out the league's leadership. And fans noticed. They called it Caitlin Clark's silent protest. And honestly, that's exactly what it feels like. This isn't some small disagreement. It's the biggest star the WNBA has ever had sending a warning to the league that built her fame. You can't keep using me while disrespecting everyone around me. And before anyone says she's overreacting, let's zoom out for a second, because the WNBA is right in the middle of its most important CBA negotiation ever. Players' salaries are on the line. The possibility of a lockout is real. And ownership groups are scrambling to find a way to balance the books while still paying their stars what they deserve. The problem? 2 of the players sitting at the negotiation table, Nafisa Collier and Breanna Stewart, are also co-founders of Unrivaled, an alternative off-season league. And that's where the conflict of interest comes in. Because if the WNBA can't reach a deal, and the league shuts down in 2026, Unrivaled wins big. Players would have no choice but to go there just to keep earning. So, of course, owners and executives are suspicious. They believe Collier and Stewart might quietly benefit from a WNBA shutdown. And when the commissioner gets pulled into a public feud with one of them, it makes everything look even worse. That's what fuels Caitlin Clark's frustration. She's sitting there, watching both sides, the commissioner and the players, turn her name into a pawn in their fight. She's trying to train, heal from injury, and prepare for another season. Yet somehow, every headline leads back to her. She didn't ask to be part of this war, but she's right in the middle of it. Think about that. Every storyline in this league somehow circles back to Caitlin Clark. Ticket prices, TV ratings, sponsorships, even the CBA itself. And yet, she's being told she should be grateful for what the league gives her. That's almost laughable. The truth is, the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark far more than she'll ever need them. Her games break viewership records. Her jersey sales lead the charts. Even when she's injured, her name pulls more attention than the actual finals themselves. And still, the league hasn't figured out how to protect her on the floor or support her off of it. Fans can feel it. The frustration is everywhere, online, in comment sections, in every highlight reel shared with a sigh. Everyone's realizing that the WNBA has been handed one of the greatest marketing gifts in sports history, yet somehow keeps finding new ways to waste it. The irony? Caitlin Clark isn't even asking for special treatment. She just wants fairness. She wants the chance to play her game without the noise, without the endless drama, politics, and media spin dragging her name through chaos. But every time she tries to move forward, the league pulls her back into the fire. Not for her brilliance, but for controversy. And that quiet patience she once carried, it's gone. This isn't the smiling rookie from 2024. This is the veteran who's realized that silence doesn't save you. By backing Collier, even slightly, Caitlin Clark just sent the WNBA a message. You're not untouchable. And now, the fallout has begun. Players are choosing sides. Fans are clashing online. Even former stars are stepping in, calling this the most embarrassing stretch in WNBA history. Meanwhile, Cathy Engelbert keeps pretending it's all under control, standing behind podiums, reading scripted lines about alignment and stakeholder engagement, while the league she leads edges closer to collapse. It's unbelievable. Just months ago, people were calling this the WNBA's golden era. Expansion talk, record ratings, new investors. Now, they're wondering if a 2026 season will even exist. And honestly, that's not on the players. That's on leadership. You can't keep ignoring real concerns and expect them to smile for media day. You can't have the most famous athlete in women's basketball feeling disconnected from her own league and still expect fans to buy the one big family story. Cathy Engelbert's denial might have been the breaking point. Because even if she never said what Collier claimed, the fact that nobody believes her says it all. Her credibility, gone. And the worst part, it's no longer about who's right. It's about how disastrously this was handled. The WNBA let a private disagreement turn into a full-blown soap opera right in the middle of its finals. And now, every headline about women's basketball isn't about who's winning, it's about who's lying. That's why Caitlin Clark's calm, deliberate stance hits so hard. She's not yelling. She's not writing essays. She's just letting the silence speak. And that silence is echoing louder than anything Engelbert could ever say behind a podium. The fans feel it. The sponsors feel it. Even ESPN anchors are tiptoeing around it because no one knows how to spin this chaos anymore. We're witnessing a power shift unfold in real time, the players realizing they don't need the commissioner's blessing to hold influence. And Caitlin Clark, whether she planned it or not, has become the face of that movement. So now that Caitlin Clark has quietly aligned herself with Napheesa Collier, the WNBA has gone into full panic mode. And honestly, they should be. Because when your biggest star, the one carrying your entire league's momentum, starts showing signs she's losing faith in leadership, you're deep in crisis territory. Let's start with the fan reaction because, wow, it's been loud. On social media, fans have turned Cathy Engelbert into public enemy number one. There are threads with thousands of comments yelling, "Fire Cathy." Memes are everywhere. Her face next to that, "This is fine," dog calmly sipping coffee in a burning room. It's ruthless. And for once, fans from both camps, Clark supporters and Collier supporters, actually agree on something. The league's leadership looks lost. That's how bad it's gotten. Even people who usually argue over every tiny detail on X or Reddit are suddenly united, saying, "This is embarrassing." Now, to be fair, not everyone's picking sides blindly. Some say, hey, maybe Collier should have kept this private, or maybe Caitlin shouldn't have said anything at all. But here's the thing, it's too late for that now. When you're the face of the WNBA, silence itself becomes a statement. If Caitlin says nothing, she's accused of ignoring real issues. If she says too much, she's blamed for fueling drama. So, no matter what she does, she's trapped in this impossible corner. And honestly, the league built that corner for her. They made her the face of everything. They put her in every ad, every promo, every interview. They built the entire WNBA storyline around her. And now that everything's starting to spiral, they act shocked. Please. It's like they forgot that when you turn one player into the face of your brand, you also hand her the power to shape how the world sees your league. And Caitlin Clark is using that power, quietly but effectively. You can feel she's done pretending to play nice. You can feel she's exhausted from having her name dragged through boardroom debates, rival league agendas, and hollow empowerment speeches. All she wants now is transparency and fairness. And honestly, that's exactly what the fans want too. But here's where things get serious, because this isn't just a PR hiccup. This has real business consequences. The WNBA is deep in negotiations for its next collective bargaining agreement. The CBA that decides player salaries, season length, travel, all of it. And if these talks fall apart, and right now, that's a real possibility, the league could face a lockout in 2026. No season, no games, no paychecks, total shutdown. It would be catastrophic. And the worst part, it would hit during the biggest growth surge in WNBA history. Sponsors, investors, and networks are finally paying attention. Attendance is climbing. TV numbers are soaring to record highs. And just when everything seemed to finally click, chaos hits. Everyone thought the Caitlin Clark effect would launch the WNBA into a brand new era. But with how things are unfolding, the league might just fumble that completely. And Cathy Engelbert's press conferences aren't helping. She keeps giving the same polished lines on repeat. We're listening. We value our players. We're working toward unity. You know, the classic corporate routine. Meanwhile, players are posting fire emojis and memes about being silenced. There's a total disconnect between leadership and what's actually happening. Even coaches have started hinting at it. Stephanie White, Indiana Fever's head coach, once defended Caitlin and called her a pawn in someone else's game. That quote aged like prophecy, because that's exactly what this whole mess feels like. A giant game where Caitlin Clark's being moved without a say. Now here's the twist, or maybe the warning. The league still doesn't seem to grasp how massive this really is. They think it'll fade away after the finals. Spoiler, it won't. Caitlin Clark has rewritten the WNBA's entire power structure. She's not just a player anymore. She's a brand, an economy, a one-woman media empire. And when someone like that stops trusting leadership, the entire system trembles. Look at the timing. Collier cancels her meeting with Engelbert. Players post about unity. Caitlin sides with Collier. Then the commissioner smiles through questions about whether there will even be a 2026 season. That's not business as usual. That's a rebellion quietly exploding inside the WNBA. And you can already feel the ripple effects spreading. Sponsors are uneasy. Networks are starting to probe. Even NBA executives are whispering behind closed doors, wondering if Adam Silver might have to step in and clean house, because technically, the WNBA still lives under the NBA's umbrella. And if things keep heading downhill, Silver might be forced to make the move everyone's avoiding, replacing Cathy Engelbert. If that happens, it would mark the biggest power shift the league has ever witnessed. And honestly, maybe that moment's overdue, because whether you agree with Collier or not, the fact that so many players feel ignored says it all. It paints the full picture. So tell me, is Caitlin Clark standing up for what's right? Or has this whole thing spiraled way past control? Hit like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments.